What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Off the Schneid. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Detroit Lions, talking about their team needs heading into the 2021 NFL Draft, post-free agency for the most part. They got a fair amount of needs. They do have a lot of depth. I'll say that. They got a lot of guys that can play. I really do suspect that the Lions are going to be one of the worst teams in the league next year. I think they're going to have a hard time finding wins, if I'm being honest. Jared Goff obviously comes in for Matt Stafford in that trade across. For better or for worse, they're basically stuck with him for 2 years. This year and next, they'll be stuck with Jared Goff, I think. They can get out of him after that, but I think for better or worse, they're stuck with the guy. I think they'll finally let DeAndre Swift go. He kind of was rotational with AP last year. AP is now gone, not likely to come back. And I think DeAndre Swift gobbles up most of those carries and becomes a bit of a bell cow. Obviously, I think Motor City Dan Campbell, Anthony Lynn for sure covets the running back position and builds his offense around that. So I think he's going to get a fair amount of carries, but I see this as being and this is one of the things that got Anthony Lynn probably fired. He was a run on first and second down, then throw the ball, and whether you get it or not, it's just not a good way to run your offense, in my opinion. We'll see. He maybe changes some things up, especially with Dan Campbell there. But, they brought in Jamal Williams as well, who I really, really like from the Packers, divisional guy. And Kerryon Johnson's still there as well. So they do have some depth at running back and some quality pieces at running back to get the job done. Hopefully those guys can. It's just a matter of this team not being very good, if I'm being honest. TJ Hawkinson is probably the best young tight end right now in the game. He's very, very good, improving. And he's definitely the guy there. They bring in Josh Hill to be kind of a depth guy. I really like Hunter Bryant out of Washington. I really liked him coming in. Hopefully he gets more playing time this year and gets a chance to catch some balls. I think he can definitely be I'm not going to say a difference maker, but I think he can be a quality piece on this or any offense for that matter. The big problem, the big problem is obviously at wide receiver for this team. Pretty much none of the starters were on this team last year. Khalif Raymond comes from Tennessee. Tyrell Williams comes from Vegas, and he was hurt all of last year for the most part. And Rashad Perriman comes over from the Jets. Again, all good, decent depth guys. Khalif Raymond can probably get it done in the slot on a lot of teams. But Perriman and especially Tyrell Williams, you're not wanting to rely on that guy. If Cortez Cephas can be a guy, sure, but I personally think at 7th overall, they might trade down if they could pull back like a couple spots, but they're not getting out of the, Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, and Jalen Waddle. They're not getting away from those three guys, so they likely just stay at 7 and pick whichever one is there. If all of them are there, they pick the one they like. You know what I mean? They'll take it from there. They're going to be, I think they're going to be scouting those three guys, and one of those three guys are their pick at 7. At least that's what I would probably do. And keep an eye out for my mock draft in a couple weeks. That's likely what I'll have the Lions doing. Offensive line, I think the starters are in a good spot. Their tackles are very good. Taylor Decker and Tyrell Crosby are very capable. Frank Ragnow is very good. Logan Steinberg should be a guy. Jono Jackson can be a guy. They do have Vaitai, Dan Skipper, a little bit of depth, but they're going to have to add somebody somewhere. They got 3rd, 4th, and they got a good amount of draft capital. They got 6 picks, call it inside the top 150. That's decent quality as far as for what they have for capital. So they can plug some holes and kind of plan for the future and build on this team. I think eventually they're going to make a move at quarterback from Goff whether it's 2 years from now. I think that's the only time they can really do it is 2 years after 2 seasons as a Lion. So we'll see what happens there. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball. On the defensive line, I think they actually are looking fairly good. I think there's a lot of depth there. Romeo Okwara comes back. I didn't actually I didn't think he was coming back to Detroit. I really didn't. Maybe he just wants to keep playing with his brother. I don't know, but I didn't expect him to come back. But here he is. Trey Flowers is still there. Michael Brockers comes in. Nick Williams is there. John Pinacini, Austin Bryant, Deshaun Hand, Charles Harris, Julian Okwara. They got a lot of depth there on that defensive line. I don't think that that's a need at all. I don't think that they should probably even make a selection on the defensive line, probably at all in this draft. Moving back is where they're going to start to have some issues. Linebacker could be Jamie Collins is getting up there age-wise, and then Jelani Tavai. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but Jalen Reeves-Maben is there. They could be guys. Alex Anzalone comes in. So those two guys, you got to kind of see if they can play and take it from there. But you might want to bring in some competition just to see. But it wouldn't be high pick, maybe 4th or 5th round pick, something like that. Just if there's a guy that you like, especially. Safety is going to be a big time need in my opinion. Tracy Walker, I think, can get the job done, but other than that, I think that they're going to have a hard time. Will Harris might be the guy. Well, you got to let him play. And here's another thing. If I'm saying they're going to be a bad team, which I do think that they're not going to be a very good team this year, you got to let these young guys play and see what you got. You might as well, right? So I mean, they got a lot of good capital, like I said, to bring in some pieces to compete and figure out who's going to be your guys going down the stretch in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? But either way, I think you got to let some of these guys play. So I'm not saying that these are extreme needs and they'll be any better or worse with, whatever they draft, whatever they draft, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. They're going to be relatively in the same spot. You know what I mean? Corners are actually in an okay spot with Jeff Okudah, who, hopefully could stay healthy all year, and Amani O. I'm not going to attempt his name either because I know I'm going to butcher that. So Amani O and Jeff Okudah right there. Mike Ford's still there. Quentin Dunbar comes in. So they do have some depth, and Amani and Okudah are definitely going to be the starters in Detroit for probably the next few years, but they could definitely add some depth and, a nickel corner, that sort of a thing. So we'll see what they do. Like I said, decent amount of capital. New coaching staff comes in. The ownership was putting quite a bit of pressure on Matt Patricia. I think the expectations were maybe a little too high for Patricia coming in. I don't think the teams that he had matched the expectation, to be honest. But, Motor City Dan Campbell, he talks the talk, so we'll see what he brings. Anthony Lynn, we're going to see if he can actually be a coordinator or head coach type of a guy. I actually do like Anthony Lynn, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, new coaching staff, so we'll see. And then new quarterback. There's a lot of changes, all new wide receivers, a lot of changes on this team. So we'll see what they do. Appreciate the watch. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out if you don't mind. Keep an eye out for my mock draft, and I'll see you on the next breakdown video.